Ready for the thought for today? I mentioned before that I'm reading this here book. See that? Loser Think. How Untrained Brains Are Ruining America by Scott Adams. And you know him as the cartoonist for Dilbert. Either way, on page 193, he has this section about unfocused priorities. And he says one way you can lock yourself in a mental prison is to get your priorities wrong. But getting your priorities right is not as easy as it sounds. That's on page 193. On page 194, he gives his list of priorities. Let me see if I can get there. Can you see that? Is that close enough? In case you couldn't, or you're just listening, number 1 is you. Number 2 is family. Number 3 is friends. Number 4 is employer. Number 5 is town/city. Number 6 is country. And number 7 is world. Got a bug going after me here. So, I got 3 questions for you. Number 1, do you have your priorities listed? I can't say I formally listed them like that. I've got kind of a mental list, and I would agree mostly with that list. But do you have your priorities listed? If you don't, and I don't, maybe we should take the time. That way we can reflect on what we actually consider most important. Number 2, is your priority list correct? I would argue that Scott Adams is missing the most important one. Can you think of what it would be based on what I've said before? Ready? I'll give you a couple seconds. Think about it. God. God's not on his list, and God should be number 1. And I would argue, by the way, if there is a God, and there is, if there is a God, if you don't put him number 1, you're not putting yourself up top either. Because clearly, if there's a God, you should be interested in doing what he wants for your own self-interest, but also because he's just right. So I would say God is number 1. You would be number 2. And then the third question is, once you know what your priorities are, or you think you know what your priorities are, does the way you spend time reflect that? If you say God is number 1, does your life reflect that? If you say you are number 1, a good example he gives is, if you is number 1, like he has in his list, and employer is number 4, and you have a choice between working late or going to the gym, you probably should go to the gym. Some good advice. And your priority list would say that. So question number 3 is, does what you do reflect your priority list? And of course, we'll call it question 3B. If not, why not? And how about 3C? If not, what are you going to do to change it? So I guess I would say the thought for today, and I know this has been a longer one, my apologies, is the 3 questions of the thought for today. What is your list of priorities? Is it the right list? And does how you spend your time reflect it? And then you can go with 3B and 3C, which is, why doesn't it reflect it? And what are you going to do to change it? Unless, of course, you're perfect and you're following it. Okay, enough of me yakking. I love you. I will see you again tomorrow. Bye.